This is my coaching, performance and development session with my athlete, focusing on improving confidence when receiving and creating goal scoring opportunities. In this practice, my athlete is working in a 5x5 blue square. We are looking at receiving the ball on the half turn and looking to turn and shoot. My athlete receives the ball from the coach, who starts on the blue cone, who then plays the ball in. The athlete then receives the ball, turns and shoots. They are working 6 on the left foot strikes, and 6 with his right foot strikes. So here is a demonstration from myself, looking at different ways to receive the ball. So what we're focusing on receiving the ball on the half turn to make it easier for the athlete to receive the ball and then shoot. So the demonstration, the athlete plays the ball in. I receive the ball on one foot and look to strike the ball in the opposite corner with my other foot. Beforehand, the athlete was receiving the ball facing the coach, which made it difficult to turn. In a game, it would make it difficult for him to be able to turn with the defender being behind him. Therefore, if he can create space, he can look to receive on the half turn, to receive with one foot and then strike with the other. This demonstration was used with both feet. So on the same practice as used as a progression, the athlete now has a time constraint. So they have 3 seconds to receive the ball and shoot and be prepared to receive the next ball. This time constraint was used to apply more pressure for the athlete to make sure that his touch was inside the blue area and then he can get his strike away nice and quickly. So here's a reflection with my athlete after introducing the first practice and using a time constraint progression with the athlete. So within this reflection, the sort of questions that I was asking with the athlete was, how did you feel in terms of receiving the ball and shooting? The athlete felt that he was comfortable receiving the ball, he was comfortable shooting. The area was big enough for him to receive the ball and shooting, and he didn't really feel much pressure. The athlete also said that he felt quite confident when he was receiving the ball and shooting. He said he didn't have to think about much else apart from receiving the ball and looking to shoot into an empty goal. Therefore, the aim of this practice was trying to increase his confidence in receiving the ball and shooting. With him finding the practice quite easily, and he was able to get his confidence up with shooting, I felt that we achieved this. In this next progression to the practice, the area was then made smaller to a 3x3 area. The athlete still had to take his touch inside the blue area and look to shoot. The reason for this is to try and make the practice more difficult for the athlete and apply more pressure on him to see if he's able to cope with the pressure of receiving the ball in tight situations and able to receive on the half turn to look to get the ball out of his feet and still shoot and find the goal. I then asked the athlete how he felt about the progression of this practice and whether the area size made a difference to how he felt about the practice. He said that he found it more difficult and he felt that he was more under pressure and he was less likely to succeed because the area was smaller, so it added a pressure and another pressure to him of having to think about receiving the ball, having to think about receiving it under pressure in a tight area and still being able to shoot and find the net. I then asked the athlete about how he felt he could link this to a game and how he felt this was realistic to a game and a game environment. The athlete came back to say that with his position being an attacking central midfielder, he has to receive the ball a lot of times with his back to goal or on the half turn looking to play forward. With the majority of the time there will be a defender behind him applying that pressure towards him, with also recovering midfielders from the opposition team applying pressure. Therefore his touch has to be good and he has to be confident enough to receive the ball in tight areas and get the ball out of his feet to create goal scoring opportunities. Here's another progression to the first practice, and here's me as the coach demonstrating that progression. So the next progression to the practice, the coach plays in the ball, again working in the 3x3 area. The athlete then receives the ball and looks to shoot. But now the athlete only has 2 touches, so he has to be able to receive the ball on the half turn and he has to be able to shoot within 2 touches. As the ball is played in, the coach then also applies pressure as a recovering midfielder for another team. This adds another constraint on for the athlete as he has to think about receiving the ball under pressure and he has to think about the recovering midfielder that may apply more pressure to him and affect his shot. Reflecting on this practice, the athlete was questioned about how he felt towards the practice and how he thought this practice was different or the progressions were different compared to the other two. The athlete came back and said that he felt a lot more under pressure. He felt nervous. He felt that he had a lack of confidence because if he didn't take the correct touch, then he wouldn't be able to get the ball out of his feet and put the ball in the net where he'd like to. He also said that because there was a defender that was applying pressure, it put more constraints on him and he had less margin for error when taking his touch. He felt that he had to do it quickly and he felt less confidence in his ability in doing that quickly because of the constraints put on him. So moving on from practice number 1, this is now practice number 2. Here's me demonstrating it. So the coach plays the ball into the athlete who again is in the blue square, which is made a bit bigger back to a 5x5 square. The coach then plays a pass back into the athlete. The coach then calls a colour, either red, yellow or green. The athlete then has to move to that coloured cone and he will then receive a ball off the coach where he receives the ball and he looks to shoot. Speaking to the athlete about ways to receive the ball. So on practice number 1 we looked at receiving on the half turn. We looked at ways now, how can I receive that ball so I'm facing the ball and I'm facing the goal. Here I asked the athlete what he felt about the practice in terms of what he liked and what he didn't like. He said that he liked it because it was game realistic, because it might be receiving the ball from a midfielder looking to go forward. He also said that he found it a lot easier compared to the last constraints where he had 2 touch constraints and he had to receive the ball in a certain area. This enabled him to receive the ball, and he, in a forward run, he then had the opportunity to make his own decision of which corner he then looked to shoot in. Here I am demonstrating to the athlete a different type of movement that the athlete might make to make it easier to receive the ball and look to shoot. I also looked at which foot I would shoot with depending on which cone that I would receive the ball on to make it easier for the athlete to make that decision. So here, when we were reflecting with the athlete, he felt that he enjoyed the practice, he felt that it was game realistic. He also said that he still found that he was under a bit of pressure because he had to think about which cone and which movement he was going to make and how quickly he was going to be able to make that movement. He felt that if he messed up, he wasn't able to get the right connection on the ball because he wasn't in the right position. He also felt that when he went to a specific cone, for example the red cone, and he received the ball, he felt that he didn't want to take the ball inside and shoot with his left foot because he wasn't confident with scoring. So I tried to challenge him a few times on going to the red cone and receiving the ball and shooting with his left foot to try and increase his confidence of shooting with his left foot. So here I am demonstrating and supporting the athlete when looking to receive the ball on his right foot and then shoot with his left foot. The athlete said that he struggled and he didn't feel confident of receiving the ball and shooting with his left foot. This because he didn't know how to get in the position to be able to shoot with the left foot. He also said that he felt when he received the ball on the red cone, he felt like he had to take more than 2 touches to get the ball out of his feet. So when I explained it to him and said if we were in a game situation here, he'd struggle to take that many touches because he would have applied pressure from defenders on, he came back with the answer that he used in the previous practice of receiving on the half turn when possible and looking to get the ball out of his feet nice and quick to shoot. So a progression to this practice, as the coach called out a specific colour, I now gave the athlete the choice of which colour he wanted to go to receive the ball and to shoot. So when the coach plays the ball into the athlete and he plays it back, the athlete then called out a colour that he would then move to and look to receive the ball and shoot with. Again, this was worked on with his left foot and his right foot to try and increase his confidence of receiving the ball and looking to shoot with both feet under pressure. After a discussion with the athlete, we then tried to make the practice more game specific and realistic. So what we did, we put different coloured bibs in the goal. So we put 2 yellow bibs in that were worth 1 point if the athlete could receive the ball and hit them. We put 2 green bibs in the corners of the goal. If the athlete could receive and shoot and hit them, they would get 2 points. And we put the 1 red in the corner on the right hand side of the goal, which was worth 5 points. The reason that I did that was to try and challenge the athlete to move to the red cone and receive the ball and shoot with his left foot, to try and increase his confidence of shooting with his left foot and looking for them corners. The athlete agreed that he was happy with the green and the yellow on the right hand side, as he felt that he could hit them the majority of the time. However, he struggled to hit the other corner. In addition to that, we also put a time constraint on, so he had 5 seconds to receive the ball, turn and get his shot away. This put added pressure on the athlete of trying to receive the ball nice and quick and trying to make a decision of what cone he was going to go to receive the ball best and try and make the most of his goal scoring opportunity. So here's a final reflection with the athlete on the 2 practices that we've taken part in. The athlete said that when the area was made smaller, he found it more difficult and he felt that he was under more pressure, which decreased his confidence of scoring lots of goals and receiving the ball under pressure. He felt when he had a bigger area and when he had the opportunity to choose what cone he was going to go to, he felt he was more confident because he was happy to shoot and receive the ball with his right foot. However, when we changed it up and we gave him a target to try and get on the 5 points receiving the ball and shooting with his left foot, he said he found it extremely difficult because he wasn't confident receiving the ball under pressure with a time constraint put on him, that he was going to be successful in scoring them goals. He also said, when he was asked about how he felt about the area size, he felt that it was more difficult when the area was smaller because he felt it was real to a game, as he had to make a decision of how to receive the ball nice and quick and how to get the ball out of his feet and try and create a goal scoring opportunity, which was realistic to a game. Overall, the athlete said that he felt that he improved as the practice went on, as he was able to make more decisions for himself in terms of which cones he was going to go to and how he was going to receive the ball. However, he still didn't feel 100% confident with receiving the ball on his left foot, shooting with his left foot, and ways to create goal scoring opportunities and increase his confidence in doing that.